When you talk of India's relations with other countries, you have to bear in mind what Prime Minister Modi has repeatedly emphasized: Vasudeva Kutumbakam. The world is one family.
Hello everyone, I'm Saparna Shri and you're watching Jagran English. Today we have with us Ambassador Prabhu Dayal. He will be decoding the Prime Minister Narendra Modi's US visit for us. Welcome.
Thank you.
So could you please throw some light on the personal chemistry between Biden and Modi?
Well, the personal chemistry is evident for all to see. In fact, Prime Minister's personal chemistry with global leaders uh, across continents has been full of warmth and cordiality. You remember recently he visited Australia, and the chemistry between him and the Australian Prime Minister was all too evident. In fact, the Australian Prime Minister was full of admiration and said, Prime Minister Modi is the boss. He realizes that Prime Minister Modi brings about goodwill, and he brings a certain stature to politics and is good for the bilateral relationship. A few days before that, he went to Papua New Guinea, where normally outside visitors are not welcomed after sunset, but the Prime Minister of Papua New Guinea not only went to the airport to receive Prime Minister, but even touched his feet. We all know that. So that shows the high stature which our Prime Minister enjoys in the global community. And in his interaction with President Joe Biden also, I've seen the visuals. Biden comes across as somebody who's extremely warm towards Prime Minister Modi, and Prime Minister reciprocates it in every sense.
So how will China and Pakistan see this?
I have watched some videos which are coming out of Pakistan, and people there are full of admiration for our Prime Minister. In fact, there was one video where a Pakistani on the street was telling a television reporter that I want Prime Minister Modi to run in Pakistan, because people there realize that their own leaders have made such a mess of the country. Pakistan is in economic turmoil, it's bankrupt. At the same time, there is political turmoil, there is terrorism everywhere, and their leaders are busy fighting. Their leaders are not able to control things. So they contrast their situation with what is happening in India. And they're very impressed with the manner in which Prime Minister Modi is running India and how he has brought India to the center stage in global affairs. So I think that the common man in Pakistan admires what is happening here. You know, China wants to pursue the ambition of being the world leader. It thinks of this century as China's century. And it considers India as a potential rival. It sees that India's economic emergence as a very, very powerful neighbor, that India's growth and stature in world affairs, these are what China feels threatened by. And in that context, a good relationship with the United States is something that the Chinese tend to worry about. But I wouldn't worry so much about what the Chinese think. I think they can think what they want. We have to look after our own national interests. And as far as our own relations with China are concerned, I think our government has made it repeatedly clear to them that as long as their hostility across the line of actual control is continuing, there is no question of having a normalized relationship with them.
Could you please tell us about what role this visit can play in India-US relationship?
You know, India and the United States are natural allies. The United States is perhaps the world's oldest democracy. We are the world's largest democracy.
True.
We both are secular. We have very healthy traditions. We are multilingual. We are multi-religious, both societies. And there are so many factors that bring us together. Uh, Therefore, I think that the direction in which the relationship is progressing is something that will shape the course of events in this century. It is perhaps the most important relationship of our times. And if it continues to grow in the manner it has, then certainly it will have a great deal of influence on shaping matters all across the globe. So I think that the prognosis for the relationship is very good.
How would Beijing and Moscow perceive this visit?
Well, as far as Moscow is concerned, we have explained to it all along that India doesn't take any sides. In Russia's war against Ukraine, we have not taken any sides. We have only looked after our national interests. So India's global importance has grown to such an extent that, for instance, our importance within the G20 family or our importance to the G7 countries, these are all in evidence. And therefore, I think we don't really have to explain to anybody the line of action we are taking vis-a-vis another country. And as far as the Chinese are concerned, of course, they might view that the Indian friendship with America is being targeted against them. But we have always pointed out that our relations with the United States are not targeted against any country at all. So if push comes to shove, we'll be able to explain. But the fact of the matter is, we have been pursuing a very independent foreign policy, and I think we will continue to do that. US industrialists realize the importance of India in the global economic arena. And the emphasis which our government has been putting on the Make in India idea is becoming something that attracts them too, because they also are beginning to see India as a destination where they could invest and where their investments would be profitable for them. So, in other words, if they do joint ventures with India, then they will be to their own advantage too. India will, of course, profit. It will be a win-win situation. So I think that the manner in which the Prime Minister has reached out to top-level US businessmen and industrialists is indicative of the high importance that our Prime Minister is attaching towards economic cooperation and other sorts of bilateral cooperation in the industrial and scientific area. And this is something that is attracting industrialists and venture capitalists from other countries.
So this was all. So in this entire discussion, we have covered some major key pointers from PM Modi's US visit. Thank you so much.
Thank you.